Assalamu alaikum, this is SaqibSaab, and these are my Ramadan Chronicles for 2011. Day 6. For day 6, we continue with our very juicy topic of iftar, and in part 2 of this installment, we'll be talking about a certain debate that's been taking place. The debate between iftar and dinner versus just one meal. Now, I've been seeing this debate take place mainly on Facebook, where people have been asking, usually the questions are, how can we have a healthier iftar this year? What are some good alternatives to some of our favorite foods? And then some of the replies I've seen are, look, if you're so concerned, why don't you just skip iftar? Just have dinner. You don't need to have two full meals. It's not the right time of year for that, so on and so forth. And then the people come back with their own arguments. So between the two sides, right, iftar and dinner versus just dinner or just iftar, there's some good arguments, right? On one side, the iftar dinner crowd, they're saying Ramadan has a lot of cultural experiences behind it. And growing up, I had these experiences. Number one, I want to continue these experiences in my life. Number two, I now have kids, right? 2 or 3 kids or whatever. They're growing up, they're eating now, they're seeing that Ramadan's different, we're going for Taraweeh. I want them to have that same experience in terms of iftar time. That when Maghrib hits, everyone's sitting around, here beta, eat a kajur, eat a date. Now here's the fruit chaat, here's the dahi vade, here's the pakode, here's the fried this, fried that, fried that, fried that, so on and so forth. So, it's difficult for me to not have that same experience for my kids because I want them to have what I had growing up. On the flip side, the opposite corner, the argument is saying such that we should adjust. The time is different. It's not winter anymore. Iftar is not at 5, Maghrib is not at 5, and then, Tarawih is not at 8 o'clock. It's a different time, it's a different ball game. We need to adjust. And maybe we could get rid of iftar, or we can consolidate iftar, so on and so forth. And also, they have a pretty good point that for those people who are coming from back home, where the fasts are usually either 12 or 13 hours, and the fluctuation in time isn't as much because the countries are closer to the equator, that's not how it is where we live. We live much more north, at least, if you're living in America or in the UK or something, and the time fluctuation is so much more that we can't afford to have 2 full meals going forward for the month of Ramadan. Otherwise, we're just going to suffer physically. My personal take is I always try to, see what both sides are saying and try to combine. I'm leaning towards more the side that's saying we should adjust, but I like to be more sensitive to those who want to continue their culture and their tradition. So I have 2 things I'd suggest. Number one, we should adjust, yes, but how? Number one thing I would say is to consolidate the meals, right? I already mentioned in the last video you can split up meals, you can do that, but if that's not convenient, consolidate the meals such that you're eating one meal, right? Like one plate, like we mentioned. On the plate, you get your iftar and your dinner, right? So for example, yesterday my wife made fish tacos. We had fruit chaat and we had fish tacos. I didn't put it all into one plate because I didn't want like my fruit, like the juice from the fruit running, and then it gets into the tortilla, the flour tortilla, the fish taco or whatever. So my wife made a small amount of fruit chaat, and we had our fish tacos, and they were both there, and we ate them for dinner. So in one dinner, we had both iftar and fruit chaat. I think the fish tacos came a little bit later because we were still making them, but it wasn't like, okay, all out iftar with samosa patties, pakode, fried things, falafel, whatever it is, and then we have to wait a little bit. Okay, now dinner time, here's some fish tacos. No, it was all at once. I was able to live my iftar experiences from the past and also have dinner like I would normally have dinner on any other night. The second option is to adjust, but maybe to go on and off, right? Every other day you switch it up. Or maybe you have a large iftar and some dinner. For example, check out this iftar I went to. I went to an iftar and I took a picture of my food because I was very excited to eat it. All the items here are strictly iftar only. This is all I had for dinner. It took place at my wife's Puppu's house, and Puppu in Urdu means your father's sister. There, they served only iftar items. They told us before we came. By the way, dinner tonight is strictly iftari items only, meaning you're only going to get these specific Ramadan items that come only during this month. The rationale they gave us is very interesting. They said, the reason we're doing this is because the night before we had dinner, we had kana, and we wanted to switch it up. They didn't want to make it where you have two in one night, so tonight is going to be iftar. My wife and I said, we're totally down. That's great. We love iftar items as it is, but that's such a great idea. They're not inviting us to stuff us and burden us by putting so many items that we feel like we have to take. They kept iftar only. I had my plate. I ended up taking more than one plate, but I added more fruit and literally yogurt from the dahi and chickpeas, and I had a very, very healthy meal. There was also homemade lemonade, if you can see in the picture. So that's another option that you can, change it up. Have one iftar on one day, the next day do dinner, so on and so forth. The reason why I try to lean towards more of the adjusting side, obviously because of the whole time issue, but what's the whole point of this month? It's to get taqwa, right? That's the main goal, and we'll get into that in another video, right? Taqwa is basically consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's just say you want to get closer to God. That means this month, and we all know this, we have to do more in order to get closer to God, right? Just like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, he used to pray more this month. He used to read more Quran this month. He used to revise it with Angel Jibreel, whatever he knew. He used to give more charity. The companion said the most generous person during Ramadan was not Abu Bakr or one of the famous rich companions. It was the Prophet ﷺ himself. And we know he didn't have that much. He used to do more charity than outside of Ramadan. He used to feed more poor people. And the companions, radiallahu anhum, they used to do the same thing. If we're trying to do more in terms of our deeds, that requires our bodies to do more. If we're trying to make our bodies do more, but facilitating a diet for our bodies that makes it do less, how are we going to do more in the first place, right? And we always hear the same hadith. The Prophet ﷺ used to only fill his stomach with 1/3 food, right? And it continues to say that the other third was water and the other third was air, or he left it empty. If there's a month where we should try to implement this rule, it's this month, right? I know the food is really good, it's yummy, it's difficult, but hey man, I think it's doable, right? We fast all day, right? From food, which is something halal for you. If we can do that, we can certainly hold back when it comes time for iftar, or we can change the way we need to eat. So that's my opinion. I think we should kind of reevaluate the whole iftar dinner situation. Obviously cook better foods, healthier foods, but during this time, during summer, I don't think we need to do the whole all-out iftar and then have dinner afterwards. That's just my personal opinion. If you agree, that's cool. If you disagree, that's totally cool too. I'm not going to hate on you. I appreciate that. Just please don't blame me if on Eid morning you're unable to fit into your brand new Eid outfit because you done gained 10 to 15 pounds. Inshallah, let me know what you guys think about this. What do you guys do for iftar, dinner? How do you solve the whole issue of having both? Do you not have both? Do you adjust? I'd love to hear from you guys. Tell me in the comments on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Talk to you guys later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.